it's Adriana from Let's Make It Academy, and welcome. I was recently in HomeGoods because seriously I can't stay out of that store even though I needed nothing, and I saw these gorgeous fabric pumpkins. Let me show you what I saw. After seeing those gorgeous pumpkins, I was totally inspired to create a super simple pattern, which I shouldn't even call it a pattern because it's literally a rectangle, but not only a pattern, but a very simple tutorial and method of creating these pumpkins so that you can probably create these pumpkins with whatever fabric you already have at home. And I went outside and seriously cut these twigs right off of my backyard, whatever I found in my backyard, and I made these gorgeous pumpkins. So I know if I could do it, you could do it too, and the whole goal here was to show you how simple it is and to start creating and decorating your house for the fall and for not only the fall, but for Thanksgiving. I love this. So I hope you enjoy this. So download the pattern, let's start making. Let's make these pumpkins. So let me quickly go over these patterns and explain to you how they go together. So you have 4 patterns, and this is the small one, which is only 2 sheets, and you literally tape them together, and you're gonna cut along the solid black line. That's your small pumpkin, only 2 sheets. For your medium pumpkin, this is 6 sheets, and it's laid out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, tape it together. And if you didn't cut off your white margins like I didn't, don't worry, don't do any cutting on the actual edges of the paper. Just line the paper up or the sheets up. Okay, so that's 6 sheets for the medium pumpkin. And then for the third pattern I give you, it's actually 2 of the pumpkins together. So you have the flatter pumpkin here, which you see up here. And then you have the large pumpkin here. So this is made up of 9 sheets. Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3, taped together, 4, 5, 6. And then let me fold this over, 7, 8, 9. Go over the sizes. This is your small pumpkin. So the small pattern will give you this size pumpkin. Here is the medium pumpkin. And here, just to give you a quick reference, this is the flat pumpkin, well, that I call flat, and it is not as high as the others. And then this is the large pumpkin right here, and sideways. So a note on fabrics is that definitely using upholsteries is a great idea. You will probably need a thimble on your thumb as you're hand sewing certain parts, but I definitely wouldn't use a stretch fabric. And if you decide to use a stretch fabric, your pumpkin will definitely be bigger than these sizes. Okay, let's get going. The medium pumpkin pattern, and all of the pumpkins are put together the same exact way that you're going to be seeing me do the medium. So I'm using this rayon fabric, and how you cut out your pattern is how you best like to do it. You could pin it down, you could use pattern weights like myself, trace it, cut out, whatever you like best. Piece cut out, I'm going to fold it right sides together and just pin this top area here. Now that I'm all pinned up here, I'm going to sew on my sewing machine using about 1/4 inch seam allowance, back stitching on the ends. I'm going to just sew this across. If you're not machine sewing, you can definitely hand sew this as well. I won't even bring you over to the sewing machine because it's just such a simple straight stitch. Sewed with a pink thread, hoping that it would stand out so you could see it, but it's sewn. Anyway, now I'm going to take my double threaded needle. So it is double threaded, and on the end, I've double knotted it. And I'm going to take either side, it doesn't matter, that's open, And I'm going to do like a large basting stitch to cinch this thing together. Right, so I'm just going to start here on the seam. You don't have to, but I like to start on the seam so that the knot definitely stays in place. And towards the edge of the fabric, as you see here, I'm going to just give it sort of large basting stitches. And I'm going to work my way all the way around until I meet my first stitch. Now that I've made it all the way around, you can see that when you pull it, it has cinched one end of the pumpkin, not the pocket, closed. So if you decided to use a wonderful sort of fabric like an upholstery, you're going to notice that if you pull this thread too hard, it may snap. So you may want to use a carpet thread or a button thread that is much thicker, and you could even single thread it. You don't have to have it doubled. So just to let you know, and for that you may need a thimble on your finger as you're attempting to push through the thick fabric. Anyway, now that you have it this way, what I want you to do is, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap it around the edge. See how I'm doing that? Just want to give it a nice closed and full scrunched sort of feel, if that makes any sense. And then I'm going to put a few stitches in there going in every direction. This is going to be on the inside of the pumpkin, so you're not going to see it, but I'm just going to try and go in every direction and grab every little fabric fold in there. I'm going to do it as many times as my thread allows. Let me get that out of the way. The more you do of these, the better. It really closes this end of the pumpkin, which is really going to be the bottom. So I think I'm pretty good in there. And what you're going to do for your closing it off is the last two stitches, you're going to stick the needle through the loop, and you're going to do it again and stick that needle right through the loop, pull and cut. Now you have your pumpkin partly coming together. So that will be the bottom. So it's nice and cinched together there. And now we are going to start stuffing it. And with your polyfill, you'll stuff it all up. It does take quite some stuffing. So when I'm halfway stuffed, what I like to do is I like to put the sewing in on top in order to create the scrunching, just like we did on the bottom. So again, with my double threaded needle, I'm just going to make the large stitches, like the basting stitches, and go all the way around. Once you get around and you can see the scrunching is happening, I just lay down the needle and I keep stuffing. Because if you stuff it too much and then you try to do your stitching, it doesn't quite work. And now I'm going to continue stuffing and making sure I have enough all the way around. Stuffed this pumpkin up to a point that I like and I think is firm and good. So when I pull it, I want to make sure I don't have too much fabric here that's just feeling loose, and I think I'm good. So I'm going to carefully pull. And again, if you're using an upholstery, make sure you have or are using definitely a double thread, if not a button thread or carpet thread. And now you're going to close this up. You're going to hold it together the best you can and close it up. If you overstuffed it, you'll find that it will fight you, but you'll get there. Sure that you get all the ends together and that you do some closing stitches in here just to close it up, meaning I'm grabbing all these extra little edges and I'm bringing them together. All right, And now I'm going to put in my finishing ending stitch, which locks it in, and that's just going through the loop. So I'm going to make a stitch and put it through the loop and pull. I'm going to double that. And now we're going to work with our embroidery floss. My embroidery floss ready with my large double knot at the end, and I've decided to use a decorator's needle because I have this. You don't need this long large needle. Of course though, if you do have it, it helps. Any embroidery needle will work, large enough to get your embroidery floss through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from the back, and I'm going to go, here we go, that's going to need some cleaning up. I'm going to go from the very back, and then I'm going to carefully find, without poking myself, I'm going to carefully make it come through the center. And when it does, I'm going to pull it through. And I'm going to create my first curve. Now, if you didn't stuff it enough, you're going to notice you're going to have a lot of these puckers, but I have it stuffed enough so after I fix it, I can actually play with these and remove them. So you're going to add as many of these as you'd like. So as you're running out, running out of thread, that is, or embroidery floss, I'll show you how to end it. Just trying to get it in the center there. This is, again, my method of doing this. And how many of these you add is completely up to you. So I know I have enough thread to go and do this one more time. So I'm going to pull. See how nice and great that's already shaping? How beautiful is that? I'm going to do this one more time. This is where I do believe I need a thimble, but I don't have one quite yet. I'll get it in a second. Okay, and I'm going to pull this through. And now I have 2. Right, now you can decide how far apart you want them, how close you want them. It's totally up to you. So this is already forming. That's 2 right there. And now, since I know I don't have enough, I'm going to do an end off in here twice. And then I'm going to thread my needle and continue this through the loop. And one more time. I'll actually leave this, and at the end, I will take all the extras and tie them together. Threaded, I'm just going to continue this same process. I'm not sure how many I'm going to add in there. I'm just going to play around with it and see whatever it is that I like. Whatever comes out, and I'll decide at that point. Just like that, the pumpkin is complete. Now, of course, I like to add a stem in there, so I found a twig in my backyard, and I literally just chopped them, and I do like the touch of the natural actual stem in there. So what I'm going to do is use my glue gun and just put a nice little amount in there, not too much, and I'm going to hold it in place until it's dried. So it's perfect, and honestly, once it's dried, and actually the hot glue is not hot anymore, it actually stays in place well. So while that is drying and the glue is hardening, you can add things to your pumpkin. As you can see here, I had some of these gold berries that I just twirled around the stem. And over here, I used some vintage buttons that I hot glued in. I just like the look of just a little touch of something. And here I sewed a leaf that is not exactly the shape of a pumpkin leaf, but I do like it a lot. And if you look at my my channel for home decor, you will find in the garden poof and the garden pillow all of these leaves that I show you how to put together if you're interested in that. Anyway, I think I'm going to leave this one plain, but of course your imagination is totally up to you. Thanks for watching, and please hit that subscribe and like. See you in the next video.